Hey, how'd you do it?
This is the magic man.
Dad, could you do a live check?
Live check, check 1, check 2, check 3. Right about there. Let's stop right there.
Down?
Just maybe down just a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. How's this look on the board?
Is that good?
Yeah, I think so. Let's find out. Where's the top down?
Top down is right here.
Do you want me to turn this
Second.
We're gonna find out right now. A hush goes over everybody.
Okay.
We're good? Awesome. All right, friends, welcome to our first live Simo build where we're actually building here. We're building with you guys, and hopefully you're building with your friends and family. Thank you, by the way, for making time out of your busy Labor Day weekend to take time to build with us. Today we're going to be building the classic Bloody Baron. If you guys don't know what the Bloody Baron is, basically it is a design brought to us from a community member named Dan Sponholz. Now what's really special about this is it can build extremely quick. You can fly it as an introductory trainer into 4-channel, but you can also fly it with streamers and for combat, and it builds incredibly quick. While we're talking and kind of getting ready, one thing I want to encourage you, if you're going to be building with your speedboat kit, start popping all your pieces out. What we're going to be starting on is your fuselage here, and then we're going to be going through it. So we're going to give you a few minutes to pop those pieces out, and then we'll begin. Also, make sure those hot glue guns are plugged in. During this build video, we're going to be bouncing around. We're going to be trying down a lot of new things. We got a lot of amazing people here building along with us. And also, we're going to try to answer as many questions as possible. So don't be afraid to ask questions. We have Stefan and the team here working really hard. That's going to be bringing those and answering them back. So thank you for being part of this. Thank you for building with your friends and family. And why don't we go ahead and start by popping all of our pieces out.
It says that we are on there. Yeah, I mean, we have the chats coming through, but they're not coming up on.
All right. Is everything feeding good?
Everything's doing good.
Really? Awesome. All right. So if we got a top-down view here, the pieces we're going to be starting with here is going to be our main fuselage piece. It's going to be looking like this. We're also going to have our 2 doublers right here. We're going to have our top fuselage doubler right here. And our elevator and our rudder right here. Now I get very excited. If I start going too fast on video or with the people in here, please guys let me know. We'll go ahead and adjust the speed. So just let's take a couple minutes. Let's get these guys popped out, and then we'll start making the cavities to fold it together.
Hey Dad, do you want to mention that we got other people?
Yeah, so we are actually building for the first time ever with I don't want to say a live audience because they're live builders. We had behind us a whole bunch of wonderful families that came down to spend some time flying with us at this weekend's event, and we called that Wings at Work. Basically, we've been doing bomb drops, we've been doing combats, we've been doing river runs, having a whole bunch of fun challenges, and a bunch of families have chosen to take their time out of this awesome flying weather to build along with us, and hopefully, are they able to see them?
Huh?
You guys say hi? There he is.
Good guys. There you go.
Now, a big favor here while you guys are popping out your pictures, we really want to share just what this hobby is all about. So make sure when this event's done, get some pictures while you're working here so we can share those on social media here. We want to go ahead and show people what it's like to build with friends and family all over the country and hopefully the world.
Right.
I keep looking over to my side here, making sure everything's good. Awesome. All right. So friends, we're going to give another minute or so just to pop out the last of these pieces. This plane goes together incredibly quick here. We're going to, after we get our pieces popped out, we're going to go ahead and put our attention towards getting the coat foam, or the cavities in the foam popped out for our B-fold. So if you're new to building, what we're going to be doing is removing these channels here. If you know exactly what the next step is, feel free to go ahead and do so. Now, along with building the Bloody Baron here, we're also going to be using a tool from our brand new Crafty Kit version 2 here. This Crafty Kit is more complete than ever. It has a newer hot glue gun. It has more squares, markers, tape, a whole bunch of great equipment here that's going to be able to get you in the hobby. And our goal is to actually be able to build in the future with many more builds. If you're new to building, you like this experience, this is a kit that will give you everything you need to build any of our models.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. So, are you guys able to see me okay and everything? The first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing the channels on both sides of our main fuselage piece, as you see here. Now, typically we can do this with a knife. We're just going to put a light score cut without going through the foam board on the bottom, and then we're going to just fold this in half and then pull out the piece here. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Just a simple score cut. Right along here, we just take our time, make sure we don't go through all the paper on the bottom side. No, is everyone able to hear okay and everything?
I think so.
Awesome. I'm so used to technical difficulties, I keep on getting paranoid.
It's going to be I'm sure there's plenty of other times we can, okay, log
There we
process
go.
completed, see the application further instructions.
All right, we're just going to fold this in half 180 degrees, and we're going to roll this out.
The kit, $29.99, but with the power pack, it's right now it's $89. If they go to
There we go.
go right now.
All we need to do to remove this extra foam is simply fold this in half 180 degrees and roll this out with our fingers. There we go. And while we're at it, we'll also go ahead and pop out all these tabs that you see here. All right. So once you popped out all your cavities, it should look just like what you see here. Awesome. We'll give you guys a minute or so to go ahead and get this ready to go. And then the next piece we're going to want to locate is going to be our two doublers that you see here. Any questions?
Price the kit and that kind of stuff. We're commenting on Flite.
Oh, nice. Perfect. This is exciting. So one of the future goals here is trying to figure this out is kind of picture at Flight Test is our community is so amazing. We want people building together. Our goal is to eventually make this where whenever we do a live build, and I need your guys' help to decide whether it's a new airplane, a classic airplane, maybe a beginner, maybe an advanced, maybe a two-parter. But what we'd love to see is our community members collapse down on local hobby shops, the basements of their best friends, a church, a school, and build as groups here. So what we're trying to really do is find a way to be able to do this all across the country at the same time, but also empower you guys to have a platform where we can then engage with you as well. I would love to see brick and mortar hobby shops get energy by having our community members actually go to that location, get speedboat kits, then build right there with their friends and family. But also for outreach for the FTCA, I would love to see where people meet in basements and at church buildings and schools to be able to build as a group as well. So really what we need is your help and feedback on how we can make this better and more streamlined. And I'm really excited to actually be able to build with live people and at the same time build with you. Okay, I think we're ready for the next step.
Ready?
How's everyone look here? Pretty good? Do we have our pieces popped out?
Yeah, we're popped out. We're just trying to.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, the next piece that we're going to do here is we're going to focus on this guy right here, which is a C-fold. A C-fold means basically we're going to fold this 180 degrees right around on top of each other and glue it down. So what I'd like you to do is practice that C-fold, and then once you have that down, we're going to go ahead and take our glue gun. We're going to put some glue right down on that piece, and we're going to fold it over 180 degrees. And then just hold that for about 30 to 40 seconds. There we go. While that's drying, I'm going to put my attention towards the doubler that you see here. And we're going to take this doubler and we're going to glue it, making sure that the bottom lower edge is aligned with this bottom piece that you see on your main fuselage piece.
Are you hoping both of them? Nice.
All right. Make sure that aligns nice. And we're going to just arrange this next one over here. Awesome. All right. So once you guys have your C-fold, the next pieces we're going to be gluing down are going to be our doublers. And they're going to be on both sides that you see right here. And they're going to line up with the bottom surface of the fuselage. All right. After our test fit, we're just going to place our glue right on the bottom here. This is going to give us a tremendous amount of strength. We're going to lay it down right here. There we go. And I'm just going to take my time and I'm just going to concentrate on lining everything up nice and neat. And what you should see is a gap right about here That's width of 1 layer of foam. Once this piece is down, we're going to do the exact same process on the other side. We're going to go ahead and fold down our doubler. Once we have that, we'll place our glue down. Then I like to just kind of rock it back and forth, lining everything up on the bottom edge right here and around the front nose. There we go. Here we go. All right. So once you have your C-fold and your 2 doublers, your piece should look just like what you see right here. Take a moment and feel free to go ahead and get to this point, and then we'll move on, which is going to be our B-fold. So, yep. So when we glue our doublers, friends, it's going to make it look just like this. Yep. Hey Dave, if are they able to see over there? Are they in good shape? Awesome. Hey Mike.
Hey, John. This young man in the middle over here
Yes.
is helping both the old men.
Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. All right. So in our live build here, the one young gentleman in the middle here, who is, I think he's in 6th grade. He's helping his good friend and I believe his grandfather. So how special. I love this. So one thing I'm always bad about is going too fast here. So we're going to make sure that we're going at a nice steady pace. If I need to go faster or slower, make sure you leave that in the comments so I can make sure I adjust the pace to it. We want to make sure everybody completes and has a good experience. How we doing? Ready for the next step? Awesome. Awesome. Does it look like that? Awesome. Looking good there? Looking like that? Fantastic. All right, let's go to our next step, which is going to be our B-fold. Now, B-fold means that the side plate is beside the bottom plate. A-folds and B-folds are always in orientation to the top or bottom plate. So what we're going to do here to get practice, and also because we have this tab, is we're going to take this to the edge of our table, like we see right here, and we're going to fold this up 90 degrees. Now I'm also going to use in my crafty kit, I'm going to use one of our triangle squares to make sure that I get this a perfect 90 degrees. It's going to give us the best fit. So that looks good. I'm going to flip this around, make sure it's nice and flat against the table, and it looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus my glue on this bottom seam that you see right here going across, and also on the side plate right here. A little bit more glue. We're using our 300 watt crafty kit glue guns. I have the temperature set actually on the lower side, so it's nice and smooth. It still gives us plenty of time to work with. We're gonna take this to the edge of the table with the bottom or top plate firmly against the table. We're gonna rotate this up 90 degrees, pushing down against the table, and I'm gonna hold it there for about 15 seconds here. After about 15 seconds, I'm gonna rotate it 180 degrees and make sure the other side gets against the table as well. I'm gonna push that flat against the table. We'll take our triangle square, just like that. By using the table as our friend, what we get is a nice, clean, crisp surface on the very top here. That's a really good idea to not use and fold it in midair here, because oftentimes what will happen is you'll get a crooked glue joint. Let's go ahead and do the exact same process now on the other side.
Hey Josh.
Yes, sir.
Someone wanted a close view of the C-fold.
A close view of the C-fold. Perfect. All right. So this is our C-fold here. It's 180 degrees, and you can see from the side, it's actually where the foam folds around and looks just like a C. Great question. There you go, brother. Or sister. All right, so C-fold is basically where the foam folds 180 degrees. B-fold is the orientation of the side plate besides the bottom plate. So we're going to fold it up where the side of the foam board is going to be next to the bottom plate. And A-fold is where it's on top. So A above, B beside. All right, let's go ahead and do the exact same process now on the next piece. We're gonna.
Hey, Josh,
Yes, sir.
can you speak loud enough where everybody in the room, louder, so you're not just speaking here?
Oh yeah, yeah.
People out here can.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Yep. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and place the glue right on the side of the bottom plate, and then also underneath the bottom plate here on the side. Oops. I'm gonna take it right to the side of the table. We're gonna hold it down, press it against the table, getting our nice 90-degree edge. It's always a good idea to hold that square right up against it. And on this model specifically, because we have that tab, we're gonna hold it 180 degrees, do the same spot, pressing down firmly against the table to make sure that the back is nice and square too.
Perfect, that's it.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
So somebody asked, how do you design these planes?
Okay.
Can you just give a little bit and
Yeah.
explain it? Obviously, this isn't your design.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you?
How do I personally design planes?
Yes.
Okay, so the way I personally design planes still to this day is I actually draw the plane from the side and from the top that it's in my head. And now I use a computer program called Corel Draw, and I basically make my own 3 view. By doing that, I can then go ahead and take the top view, that gives me the top surface of the wing. I can take the side view, which gives me a rudder and fuselage, and then I go ahead and melt those together. Now to get the thickness of my foam, all I do is when I do that top view, I take that top section, and then I go ahead and nest it with my side piece, and then I allow for a gap that's the same thickness as my foam. Basically, just imagine as if you're going to fold this plane together like you would origami. Make sure when you draw this, it's basically proportional, so the wing's not too tiny, or the tail's not too tiny to the wing, and the fuselage and everything looks good. And once you have that, you can actually cut those pieces out, lay it on a piece of foam board, trace it, take your side piece, lay it next to it, trace it, and you'll have a full kit or a set of plans that you can prototype off of. That's a really great question. Now, anytime that I'm working on center of gravity, just kind of a rule of thumb, 25% back from the leading edge is a really good way to start on a conventional aircraft. So just remember, if it glides, it's gonna fly, and from that point on, it's how your controls work with the rest of the airfoil and the aircraft itself. But that's a really good way to start. Great question. Hey, Lee, what may help really good, maybe Mike can go around, because I know you built one of these, Mike. Will you be able to be a floater with the other tables? Because I have a hard time projecting. Would that be okay? Cool.
Can you do that?
So we're learning something really quick here. I talk softly, and so a lot of people that are working here, we have actually a floating volunteer. So maybe when you guys do this in the future, a really good idea is to have floating volunteers going around, but they're all doing fantastic here. So by now what we should have is a fuselage that looks like this. I'll just pause you and let you see that. How's it looking for you guys? Pretty good? Everyone have a fuselage that looks like that? Looking good, yeah. All right. So we're going to give them a couple more seconds here. What we want to do is we want to put this to the side, and we want to locate the 2 pieces in our kit that's going to be our horizontal elevator and also our vertical rudder. I'm just going to go ahead and take my knife and pop this out right here. That looks good. Now our next step with these is going to be to put the hinge line in here. And this is where our new knife that's come out is really, really handy here, because this has a couple different detents where you can open it up in different angles. This angle right here is going to be what's going to help us cut our beveled edge for our hinge. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. What we're going to do is we're going to open this up 180 degrees on our elevator. And then I'm going to use the little tiny groove that you see right here, and I'm going to rest that right on the bottom like you see here. And now what I can do is I can take my knife, and that holds the perfect angle. This is one reason why we chose this knife, and all I need to do is drag that, and it's going to give me a beautiful hinge line. And then once I get over the edge, I can just pull that out. And then for this one, I'm just going to use kind of a saw motion, and I'm just going to come right up against here to cut my hinge line. Now what we want to make sure is that we have no resistance when we move the elevator up and down here. If you have any kind of resistance when you push down, that's a really good indicator that you still have some material here that you need to move. Don't feel like you have to get the material moved the first time. You can go back over it again and again. Also, if you have a piece of sandpaper, you can actually sand this bevel in, which is going to give you the same result. It's just going to be a little bit more dusty. So let's go ahead and do that on this rudder here. We're going to do it on the rudder side. Same process as before. We're not going to hold the knife this direction. We're going to hold the knife at an angle similar to this. And we're going to start our blade just above the paper. So we're going to go ahead and fold this. We'll just go ahead and gently pull through, just like that. And again, we're going to check our deflection. Make sure that everything moves nice and easy. Awesome. Now I'm going to go down below here. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap foam. Here we go. Yeah, do you guys have any questions here while we're waiting for people to catch up? Any things we can answer? We have Stefan, we have Noah, we have Lee, we have myself here. Everybody's here, ready to answer questions. We don't only want this to be a time of building, but also an awesome Q&A. How many people do we have, Stefan or Noah?
We got 250 currently.
That's awesome.
250 current live dealers.
All right. So now that we have our bevel cuts done, we're going to go ahead and move to the next step here. We're going to reinforce that. This is fine for a hinge, but after a while, it's going to get loose in this area and it's going to start delaminating. So what we can do is we can take our hot glue gun and we can put a thin bead of glue right over that paper and foam where it meets. And then we're going to take our scrap foam and we're going to scrape that off. Just like that. Make sure that you remove all the excess glue or it may accidentally glue shut on you. Let this also thoroughly dry before moving it, because if you don't, you may accidentally glue it shut. There we go. After about 40 seconds, you can see it's nice and loose, but now this is a really strong hinge. Let's go and do it one more time now on our elevator. There we go. Give it a spin. Yes, sir.
Peter Nicholson.
Okay, hi, Peter.
From the UK.
Okay.
He wants to know, what is your favorite build kit?
Oh my goodness gracious, all of them, every one of them. Okay, two favorites, two that I always go to, and you notice the most anytime we have to do like a build off and stuff, I oftentimes pick these. I love the Simple Scout because it's good for a trainer, it's good for FPV, it's good for aerobatics. I also love the Sea Duck. The Sea Duck is my favorite twin engine. The Simple Scout is my favorite go-to just all-around fun fly airplane. Whenever I teach people how to fly, I'm using the Simple Scout. They land really good, they don't tip over easy, they take a tremendous amount of abuse too. So my vote would be the Simple Scout, but frankly I love them all. As far as looks goes, I love the Sportster, FT Sportster. Really, I like whatever I'm flying at the moment. Okay, how's everyone looking with their, do we got hinges cut here? Looks like we're pretty good there. Jeff, how are we doing over there? We good to go there? Yeah, awesome, you guys are amazing. All right, so our next step here is we're gonna make sure that our bevel cut on our elevator is facing down. We're just gonna do a quick test fit, like you see right here, making sure that this is fully popped in here. Once you're happy with that, make sure that you have a right angle or a triangle handy by you. We're going to go ahead and place some glue right on the bottom surface that you see here. And then we're going to press this right back in. Again, we're going to go back to our triangle and we're just going to hold it together and we're going to give it about 45 seconds to fully dry.
I'm trying to help out. All right. Josh, I got a question.
Yeah, bud.
What's your favorite World War II plane that Flite Test has made?
Oh my goodness.
That's a tough one.
Yes.
Tough one.
All right, that is a tough one. So as far as a fun scale flight test plane that's World War II, if you guys have ever tried the FT swappable Mustang, it's a simple fun scale Mustang. That plane hands down is one of the best flying warbirds we've ever had. Now jumping over to the Master Series, one plane that I just always love flying is designed by John Overstreet, and that is the P-38. It's a Master Series build, which means that you actually mold the foam together and you shape it. I used to have one right behind me here, but that P-38 flies like it's on rails. It's absolutely incredible. Just a fantastic flyer, and it looks so good in the air. So yeah, I like either one of those ones a lot. And also when you scale them up, We have a monster P38 on the wall. It flies just like a trainer every time. It just looks so good in the air. And if you guys watch our most recent episode, the B17 currently is my all-time favorite, but unfortunately it's not available as a kit just yet, but I do know that John's working on it. Great question. All right, it's really important that we always make sure we have plenty of time to let these dry. The more that you guys let the glue dry, the better, but also if you're building and you're using one of our new 300-watt glue guns, a lot of times people think more heat is better. That's actually not the case at all. I use the high heat only when I'm gluing wood to foam, but anytime that I'm not using the high heat, I'm actually dialing it back to what you see right here, just below half. And what that gives me is the ability to lay a nice consistent bead. It's not bubbled, still gives me a good 30 seconds to work with it, but it doesn't burn my fingers as easy either. So if you guys have a 300-watt glue gun from either a crafty kit or by itself, adjust your heat just below medium whenever you're working with foam. You'll have a really great experience. Okay, looks like we're looking pretty good here. This is fantastic. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and do a test fit of the fuselage and just find the two tabs and line it up just like you see here. Now we're not gonna glue this in quite yet. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna glue in our doubler plate using this as a reference here. So I'm just gonna pop out my little servo cover. I'm gonna do a quick test fit like you see right here. Just like that. Make sure that we're happy with that fit. And then once we are, I'm gonna leave my elevator and my rudder stuck on the fuselage. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna trace this area like you see here. Now what I can do is I can bring this right back down to the fuselage. And I can slide it in. And what you should see is this line up perfectly over top of the hole, just like that. So go ahead and take a moment, go ahead and glue that doubler down, and then we can move on. All right. This is absolutely witness, guys. We have people flying outside right now. We have all these wonderful families in here building with us. I cannot wait to see pictures of you and your friends and family building at home. Please make sure that you take some snapshots, share that. We really want to share that this hobby is not just for individuals, but this hobby is a lifestyle hobby for the whole family to enjoy, young and old alike. So please share those pictures whenever you can. We love seeing them. We good? Yeah. You guys are allowed to come up close if you need to look up something close too. Hi. My wife is over there. She's so cool. So, everything good? Yeah? Awesome. Awesome. All right. So now we have our doubler on, but we don't have our elevator. Once we're happy with the way the elevator fits and we make sure that it's nice and flat on both sides here and here, we're going to go ahead and apply glue now on all this remaining surface, and then we're going to press it down into place.
Not really.
All right, we're just going to line this up. Again, we're making sure that these tabs are pressed down here and it's flat up against the fuselage. And we're just going to give this a good 45 seconds to fully cure. How are we doing over there? Looking good? Awesome. So if you're new to the hobby, one of the best parts about scratch building from foam board is the fact that you can have the opportunity to become a better builder and a better pilot at the same time. This is really important when you're getting in the hobby, because the hobby is not just about buying and flying. It's not just about picking up an airplane, going home and flying it. We really want you guys at Flite Test to be able to fall in love with the journey of building. That's where most of the memories occur. That's where a lot of the joys of just improving your skills occur. And the flying part is really the reward that gets to take everything that you created and see it take flight. So we really want to see you guys become builders and flyers, but also if you buy our speedboat kits, we always encourage you to trace out those pieces. Grab some poster board, trace out those pieces, because what happens is if say you crash and you break a wing, it's so incredibly easy to go back and build another wing. We always tell you when you get in the hobby, you become a good builder, a good pilot, and also a good advocate for the hobby, because you can show other people the same. You can also encourage them as well. So by now, you should have a fuselage that looks just like this. How are we doing here? Does your fuselage look like that, guys? Yeah, looking fantastic. Okay. All right. So what we can do now is our fuselage is now done, and we are only 30 minutes into our build time, which is 2 hours long. So we're making great time, great progress. We're going to go ahead and put this aside now, and we're going to go ahead and locate our wing, and we're going to build our wing. All right, so our wing is incredibly easy. Our wing is just simply 2 pieces here. We got our main spar and we got our wing skin. Let's go ahead and take our time. Let's pop out all these extra pieces and all these cavities that we need to. And I already lost my knife. Yes, sir.
Hey, Josh. So, Fred Schmidt on here says his 10-year-old daughter and himself love following along.
Oh my gosh, that's what's his daughter's name? He did list. All right. Well, Fred Schmidt's 10-year-old daughter. Hi. Thank you for building with us, and thank you for building as a family. That's incredible. That warms my heart, Lee. I just love that. Yeah, one thing that we love every year whenever we have our Flite Fest is just the amount of families that come out and show up to these events. It's just heartwarming. Everybody builds, everybody flies based on their passion and their skill level. And it's just absolutely incredible to see what one weekend of building and flying can create, not only for the family, but also for the hobby.
Hey, Fred's daughter's name is Michaela.
Hi, Michaela.
And it's spelled just like my Michaela.
So my good friend Lee, his daughter's named Michaela too. So hi, Michaela. Thanks for building along with us. Awesome. All right, so one common thing back in the day when we started building is we'd have people drag a barbecue skewer or a Phillips head through the actual score cut. With our ability now with laser cutting, you don't need to do that. So one thing I want to encourage you to get a better, stronger build is hold off dragging through the score cuts to get the shape of the wing. You don't need to do that anymore. So I think, does everyone have their wings pieces popped out? Everyone good? I think we're ready to move on?
I think they're almost done.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're going to put our attention towards our main spar piece right now. We're going to go ahead and fold this 180 degrees. You may need to take your knife and put a little bit of score cut, but just fold it in half, just like what you see here.
Look at what Hayden.
And once we have this 180 degrees, we're going to lay the bead of glue right along, like you see here. Right down to the table, using it as our friend. And we're going to hold this down for about 45 seconds. I always like singing "You Are My Sunshine" in your head. You guys can sing at home if you want. Trust me, you don't want me to do it in person.
Are there any 3D printed mods you would recommend playing?
There we go. Once this is glued down, you can put this aside, and we're going to put our attention now towards the main wing piece. That main wing piece, we're going to be doing a double bevel. That double bevel is going to be on this point here and this point here. Again, we're going to go back to our knife. We're going to turn it from straight to 45 like you see here. And now what we can do is with the back end of our knife, we can ride it right along the piece of the foam that you see here. And this acts as a great guide to be able to cut that bevel just like that.
Thank you.
There's one. And here comes two.
Hey Josh,
Yes, sir.
Fuse asks, flight test, are there any 3D printed mods you would recommend for any of your flight test planes? I feel like we did a few just recently.
Yes, we did. There are a lot of 3D printed mods. Our good friends, if you look up Thingiverse, there are some amazing 3D printed firewalls, control horns, things like that. One thing I'm excited to show you in our new hardware packs, our new premium packs that come with many of our speedboat kits, is we have plastic control horns and firewalls, but if you have a 3D printer, you can actually print things that are very similar to what we include in our kits. Along with that also, if you're into FPV, you want wheels, wheel pans, things like that, all those things are available not only on Thingiverse, but mainly on our forums, along with the great people that design those. Also, our good friends at Eclipse and ColorFab, if you're into 3D printing, check that out because we're playing with a new PLA called Lightweight PLA. It's LWPLA, and it's amazing. 40% lighter, incredibly strong, incredibly durable. Did I answer that question okay? Awesome. Okay. Perfect. All right, so just to show you that I'm human, I got all excited. Look. I cut through my paper, but that's okay because all we simply need to do is put a piece of tape over there and it's good as new. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Everyone always says I have good bevel cuts, but they never see when I cut through the paper. There we go. All fixed. Okay. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and go to our next step, and that's going to be gluing in our spar. We're just going to go ahead and pop in the spar, just do a quick test fit, make sure that we're happy with it. Spar is going to give us a tremendous amount of rigidity. Once we're happy with that fit, we can go right along the top. Yes, sir. Did he just rip right through it? That's fantastic. What's his name? Doug? All right. And how old's Doug? All right, 63. So Doug over there is giving me a reminder for my money because I messed up on my bevel cut and his is perfect every time. Smooth hands, right, Doug? Hey Dave, is that Doug's grandson or is that who belongs to who? His grandson. And what's the grandson's name? Jonas. Doing good, Jonas. So we have Jonas in between Doug and his grandfather helping them out, and then Doug now has become a master bevel cut. This is pretty cool. Okay, I'm distracted here. So we want to make sure that our bevel cut goes at least 90 degrees. It's really important because if it's too tight, sometimes that'll fatigue the paper and cause it to break. So make sure you have that at least 90 degrees. Now you're also going to notice that our paper or our plane will naturally get its wing airfoil as we fold it over. That's really important here. What we want to do is we want to do a practice fold. We're going to use the flats of our hand and we're going to press down and we want to make sure that this portion isn't too sharp. If for any reason it's too sharp, all you simply need to do is go back and cut your bevel cut a little bit more, just like that. What you want to avoid is having a leading edge that looks more like 90 degrees. You want it to be at least 45 degrees bent over. If it's not 45 degrees bent over, just go ahead and cut a little bit steeper. There we go. Let's try that one more time. There we go. That looks like what we want right there. Perfect. Now to give this wing extra strength, once we're happy with that fold, we're going to take the tip of our gun and we're going to press it right into these score cuts and we're going to put a thin ribbon of glue down in each one. Now make sure you do this in a timely manner so it doesn't dry straight. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go ahead and fold this over now. And what I like to do is I kind of call it a bounce. We're going to hold it, lift it up, hold it, lift it up, because we don't want to accidentally glue this shut too quickly. What we want to do is actually give this the top wing form, and that glue is going to make it incredibly strong. There we go, almost there. And after about 30 or 40 seconds, what you're going to see is you're going to see that this wing now holds its shape, just like what you see here. Are you going top down, or do you have a picture?
I'm switching.
Am I doing okay? I'm not? Okay. This is so exciting. All right, how are we looking over here? Everyone looking good? Awesome. Perfect. Okay. We good? Any questions to answer or anything?
Here's one.
Yeah.
Jesse Fellers says, Josh, I'm going to be fiberglass for my Bloody Mary.
Awesome.
How did you do the hinges on the Aileron?
Oh, that's a really awesome question. So what we did is we fiberglassed all in one piece here, just like it was all together. And then we actually cut, leaving just little half-inch tabs of connected material. So basically, we had everything glassed together, and then we just took our razor blade and we left little gaps where it was still not cut. And that basically allowed it to pivot very easily. And then we flipped it over 180 degrees, we cut our bevel, life was good. And then we packed it full of hot glue. Hope that worked out. I feel like I should show them what it looked like.
Ask them if they want a tech channel video.
Yeah, let us know. If you want a tech channel video of how to fiberglass airplanes or at least tips and techniques around it, we're still learning, but we're happy to share with you what we've learned on the tech channel. And if you guys are new to the flight test, we have a whole channel called Flight Test Tech that teaches you techniques and also has all of our build videos. Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and glue this wing down together here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place, I'm going to fold this back, I'm going to place a nice healthy bead right on the leading edge. Just right there. One on the spar. And then finally one on the trailing edge. Now sometimes when I work with bigger planes, I'll wait for the trailing edge to be very last, but this one's so small, we're good to go. Again, I'm going to fold this over using the flats in my hands. What I want to make sure is that I'm putting the focus on top of the spar and also the focus on the trailing edge. The leading edge will take care of itself, and avoid pushing down with all your weight here. Just a gentle pressure to make sure it's nice and flat is all you need. So is everyone able to hear okay and everything?
On podcast, yeah.
Awesome, fantastic.
I'm sorry,
On the channel? Perfect. I know last time when we did this, there's a lot of problems. I was either too quiet and stuff, so. Fantastic. All right, we're gonna give this about a minute here to fully cure, because what we don't wanna do is go too soon and have the trailing edge lift up slightly. That's gonna change your airfoil, and we don't want that. Looking good here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we have about 8 airplanes getting built at the same time besides this one. This is pretty amazing. Awesome. There we go. Okay. So now what we should have is a beautiful wing. It's got an airfoil, flat bottom. But if you notice, our ailerons can only go one direction. Now we want to go ahead and fold this 180 degrees, and we're going to cut our bevel cut right on the very top surface. We'll give you guys a minute or so to catch up, and then we'll do that. Anyone saying I'm going too fast, too slow?
A little bit of background noise.
I think everybody started because of the
Okay, we'll give them a couple minutes. Let's do about 5 minutes of Q&A. What do you say? It's Q&A time. Yeah.
All right, here's one for you.
All right.
All right, will David Vindestall be around in a video anytime soon?
Oh man, David always has an open door anytime at Flite Test. I would love to see him again. If you guys don't know, David is doing amazing work making meteorite rings, and he also is a new father, so we wish him all the best with that. Open door anytime at Flite Test. I would love to do another collab. Speaking of collabs, check out Peter Schriepel's channel, and also follow TJ. TJ and Peter has both been collaborating with us. We've been having such a fun time. Recently, we just took the big B-17 up, and a little teaser for the future. If you saw Peter Schriepel's newest episode with the P-47 and the fireworks, we're going to be able to bring him back out. We're going to be doing a very similar treatment with the B-17 and a lot more cameras. A great question. The BF-109? I don't, but I bet you if you put that on Facebook and stuff, John Overstreet will chime in and stuff. So, are they talking about this BF-109? Yeah. So we got a mini BF-109, and we got a full size, I guess you could say swappable size BF-109 coming as well. Also, we have a new motor that we're going to be introducing, specifically designed for John Overstreet's Warbirds, and I forget whether they're going to be called the Warbird motor, but it's basically a 2814 motor. It's absolutely incredible. Of course, you could put it on the smaller airplanes, but it's going to be way too much power. But for these bigger Warbirds that John's designing, it flies them and balances them absolutely perfect, and it's incredibly efficient and powerful as well. So, awesome. Any other questions?
Yes. All right, so Aaron Blake.
Hi, Aaron.
Aaron Blake has asked, this is going to be a tough one, okay? So you got to put your thinking cap on it.
Okay.
What is your favorite episode so far?
That's a tough one. They are. The green, yeah, there was a question. I'm thinking about Aaron's question, but someone asked if the green Flite Test shirts are available. They just got put on their store along with, I made this shirt, which has been a dream of mine for 10 years. My wife actually made it happen thanks to Steven Rosema, and also No Plane Left Behind shirt. So check out on our store. We got brand new swag and also a hat available. Okay, back to Aaron's question. Okay, I got a couple that are really special to me. There was an episode we did for our 1 million subscriber, when we hit our 1 million subscriber, and that was our tank. Now, obviously, it was special to me because with the tank, we promised we'd do it, and we built this big, monstrous, I think, 10-foot wingspan tank that was incredible. But also, during that time, our good friend John Overstreet, which is actually a very new friend at that time, came down with his family. And during that time, to pull off making that tank fly was nothing short of amazing. It was a full team effort from everybody on the team. But also, it was one of the first episodes we shot here at Edgewater before we actually were even able to move in. During that time, the weather was terrible. It was just gross looking. And when we went to pull that out, suddenly the sun opened up and the tank flew absolutely perfect. And it was just a really special memory because I remember thinking, you know, 1 million subscribers is great. We value every relationship on YouTube and everyone that chooses to watch our content. But also is a pivotal moment realizing just the new opportunities we're going to have from Edgewater. So for me, the flying tank episode was really, really special. But frankly, I like them all. They all have something really special to it, and especially when the community gets us to a certain point, that really sticks with me. When we hit 2 million, by the way, we're going to take our 12-foot B-17 and we're going to go even larger. So that's our promise for that one. We now know all about laser tag. We know how to make electronic explosives when they get hit in the air. We really want to go all out and have a big B-17, not only to put in that battle, but also when people come out that we can fly with them and also let them fly our crazy contraptions. So that one I'm really looking forward to building. All right, are we ready for ailerons, do you think? Bevel? Okay. So our next step here is we're going to go ahead and cut our bevel cuts for our ailerons. We're going to take our knife, we're going to hold it at an angle, and then we're going to get as close as possible to the center of the paper as we can. We want to cut this at least 45 degrees, so we have at least 45-degree deflection, just like you see here. Let's go ahead and do the same on the other side now.
Hey, Josh.
Yes, sir.
David has a...
Somebody was curious to know if there's a good way to put washout in foam board wings.
Yeah, washout. So typically we don't have to worry too much about washout and foam board wings. One thing you can do, it doesn't sound like it really works well, but it works incredibly well, is just cut your wingtip shorter and let the outer tips be undercambered. That's going to give you higher lift at lower speed, which does the exact same thing as washout for you. If you really need to get washout in your wingtips, what you can do is as you fold it over, put a piece of foam on your wingtips on the trailing edge, fold it over then. You're going to have to be very careful to not crinkle your wing because you're going to be supporting it, but that works as well. But instead of using washout, which typically basically is where the trailing edge of the outer wing is angled up so it keeps on lifting, I really prefer to actually just leave the outer parts of my wings undercambered, and it's incredibly stable. It works good. Even on our warbirds, it's just incredibly powerful to do that. So I would encourage you to try this first, and then if not, just take a piece of foam, stick it under your trailing edge, and when you fold it down, it'll automatically twist your wing the way you want. Yeah, great question. One other, there's another idea I have, but I haven't tested, so I won't even bother talking about that. All right, now that we have our bevel cuts, let's go ahead and do a hot glue reinforcement. All right, same thing as we did before here. We're going to lay the tip of our nozzle right down in that seam. There's one. We're going to give this about 45 seconds to dry, and then we'll do the other one here. Same process here. Right down, right over that paper. Whoops. There we go. And we'll smear that down in. Make sure that you get all that excess hot glue off of there so there's no resistance. I like to kind of flip it back and forth a couple different times to make sure that there's nothing down in there. This one should be good. Yep, that looks great. If at any time that you can't deflect it after you do that reinforcement, that means most likely you have some hot glue globs that you need to cut out there. Make sure you have easy deflection so your servo doesn't have to work too hard. There's one, and there's two. That looks really good. At this point, our wing is now done. Our next step here is what I want you to do is locate your power pod piece. We're going to go ahead and get our power pod, and we're also going to grab our hardware pack. Now, many of you guys have our new premium hardware pack. This is incredible. This is something we put over a year of work into. We now have plastic control horns, plastic firewalls that are nylon infused. They're incredibly strong, but also reusable. If at any time, say you crash your airplane, you want to reuse it, you can rip them off, clean it off the best you can, pour some alcohol on it, that'll soften up the hot glue, and you have a whole nother piece ready to use again. They're basically forever pieces. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our wing aside, and we're gonna locate the piece that we have that looks just like this. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and open up our premium hardware pack here. Now with this hardware pack, you're gonna have a lot of extra pieces that you don't need for this kit. Make sure you save those. You're gonna have extra barbecue skewers and pushrod guides and things like that. That's gonna be really useful whether you're scratch building in the future or if you wanna even build a second one. We kind of had this standardized around a lot of different models, so that way one kit covers a whole bunch. It just keeps coming and going. I know one of our biggest comments was people wanted thicker barbecue skewers, and you're going to see that these barbecue skewers are much thicker than what we used to have. There we go. So a couple of different things here on this hardware pack, and we're slowly phasing these through all of our packs over the next year here. So if you still have the old style, don't worry, new styles are coming. But all the new releases will most likely have this, and then we'll work backwards as well. Instead of coffee stirs, we have an actual pushrod guide tube. Now, depending on the type of kit that you get, you may have one of these, you may have two of these, you may have a real long length. They're all specific to what you need. So sometimes you may find yourself cutting this in half. Sometimes you only need a section, you can save the rest. It's incredibly useful. Also, for our scratch builder friends here, we have these packs that will be going on our store, so you can get these where you have like an assortment of everything, so you can build your different scratch build kits or even your own designs and have this standard pack here. We'll have that on our store in the very, very near future. But for now, you can get these individual, separate, or you can get it as a pack if you need everything together. We really want people to be scratch building as well as building our kits and having a great experience. So hopefully that will help it be a reality.
And we've got some questions if you want to handle some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the spruce goose.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Is there ever a future plan to design a spruce goose?
All right, if anybody knows me, they know I never say no. Is there a future plan of the spruce goose? If anyone doesn't know, the spruce goose is a work of art by Howard Hughes. It's absolutely amazing. You know it's going to happen. I mean, we're only 10 years in the flight test. The spruce goose will happen.
Yes.
When it will happen, I don't know. But you better believe that I'm sure John's probably listening to this right now, and he's probably going to his computer. If it's not designed already, he's probably working on it now that you said that. So, spruce goose, that would be incredible. Maybe after we put the pond in at Flight Test HQ, wouldn't that be good? So we'll put a big 7-acre pond here at Edgewater Air Park, then we'll build a spruce goose to go in it. Yeah. Or at least wait till spring, because it's only going to be getting colder now.
All right, another question for you. What happened to Maker Foam?
Maker Foam, great point here. So I hate to say everything around COVID. What happened with Maker Foam? We put a lot of heart and energy, and the vision for Maker Foam was to give you all the same protection as the brown foam, but have it be white and translucent so then you could light it. What happened here is our first batch of Maker Foam was absolutely fantastic. Good adhesion, good water resistance, everything we wanted. The second truckload of Maker Foam, sadly, the paper came from a different mill without us knowing, and the coaters lost our recipe because of labor issues in the coating factory. We were totally unaware of this. What ended up happening is thousands of airplanes went out the door with bad adhesion and bad water resistance. What we did to correct it is we sent new kits out. We went ahead and isolated all the kits that we had already made, and we found out they lost the recipe. So we don't want to pass on bad quality stuff, and we wanted to make sure Maker Foam was what the original vision was going to be. We went back to our flight test foam because we just weren't confident that they would be able to make that right. And also we weren't able to properly identify what was old Maker Foam, what was new. Now the good news is we do have new Maker Foam that we haven't put out yet because we want to make double sure that it's good. But we've had this foam underwater for 3 days without any issues, and it works really, really good. Our good friend John is going to be producing model aircraft that are fully printed. That's going to be printed on our new Maker Foam, and it's going to be a really good experience. And what we're going to do is people really love the brown. Some people want brown, some people want white. We're going to strategically reintroduce the Maker Foam as a basically a DIY material, but also then on select kits so people can make them night flyers. So a really great question. Maker Foam has been fixed, but we want to basically just always have the brown foam in our lives, and that way people can choose what they want.
All right, so this is...
Uh-oh, I'm out of coffee.
All right, you're out of coffee. All right, we'll get you some more coffee.
Okay.
So this is a question that's not... It's not...
There's Stephen.
There's Stephen.
He took me literally. I love
Stephen to the rescue.
He knows how much I need caffeine.
So this is not a question for planes.
Yeah.
But this is a question about the future and lodging here at Edgewater.
Edgewater. Future and lodging.
Lodging, like having... He said Dude said put cabins here so he can come.
Wait, is this real?
It's on here. Props off.
Oh my golly, props off, I love you. So yes, the goal is to drop small cabins here on the property. Right now we have primitive camping, which is fantastic. We definitely recognize families want here. I don't want to but what I'd like to see is we have an area designated where we'll be able to probably drop 2 little cabins up. And from that point, we'll be able to grow based on what we learn about, how many people are able to rent them and whatnot. Also, we want to do a couple things special with these cabins too. When they're not being rented, we want to isolate some times where we can bring first responders, our warriors that are protecting our freedoms out here, to love on them and to serve them. So it won't just be something for community to rent, but it'll also be an outreach where we can give people a tool like Model AV, even golf, to be able to with their families and also thank them at the same time. We want to do this for first responders, for warriors, for pastors in ministry that are just working so hard, putting other people first. They need an opportunity to reconnect and recharge, and we really love what this place has become, a place of peace, a place of connection, and is to see it continue to go. Yes, cabins will in the future. There will not be a crowdfund for that. We are going to make sure that we do this on our own. You guys have already started this whole thing, making it a reality, and we can't thank you enough for what it's become. Great point.
Where's your mic?
Is my mic not working?
No, it says it's clipping, so I want to check the batteries in it.
Oh. Does that mean I'm talking too loud?
No, it's...
Check.
Yeah. No, I don't know if... Maybe it's just where...
Technical difficulties.
No, you're good.
Say hi, Lee.
Hi, everybody. I don't need a mic. I think they could probably hear me wherever they're at.
Probably.
Is that better?
Is that a little better? It's just the internet clipping. It's the internet clipping? I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Are we probably ready to move on to PowerPod?
I would say so.
Okay,
yeah,
let's...
when you do,
yes.
They're asking a lot about what power pack. I know that it was in there, but they're asking about what power pack it is and everything.
Okay. So you have 2 power pack options with the Bloody Baron, the Bloody Wonder, and many of our other models here. You can go with a Power Pack B or Power Pack C. Now the really cool thing about our new radial Power Pack B is it can fly on 3 or 4 cell, which basically means you can start as a trainer and fly with the Power Pack B and have a 3 cell on it. It's going to be light, it's going to be soft, it's going to be easy to fly, but then you can go to a 4 cell later and you just go down 1 inch on your prop, and it is absolutely ballistic. Unlimited vertical, you can pull 150-foot streamers. It gives you the power of a C. So you can put either one in there because you can obviously fill in the blank. If you start with the C and then go 4 cell on the C, you're talking about probably something that's close to 80 miles an hour. But Power Pack B is what I recommend to people because they can learn off of it, they can fly it in a small area, then they can choose to go with a 4 cell later and then just get ballistic power and ballistic speed. Really good question. All right. So friends, if you haven't already, make sure you have this piece. We're going to remove the 2 channels that you see right here, and then we're going to do our A-fold.
Hey Josh, we got a question here.
I'm raising my hand.
Yeah, bud.
Okay.
Dave has a question. Yeah.
Since I've been making these kits, I've been wondering what these are for.
I have no clue why those are in the kit. Where do they even come from?
It says in the book to make sure that they're in the kit.
Like that?
That's from the old 3-packs. So do you guys just throw them in there and shrink them in? Don't do that anymore.
You don't need these.
Are they squeegees for the...
Well, I mean, I've been using them as squeegees. Here, when I open the one kit...
We cut these and put them in the kits.
You don't need to put those in the kits. So guys, if you have these in your kits, you don't need these in the kits.
I didn't think so.
No, but you can use them as squeegees. So yeah, that's what they're for. They're squeegees.
Age-old question Jason and I have been
Oh
trying
my
to figure
gosh,
out.
those are... Oh, I know what they are. I know what they are. These were old dihedral or throw gauges, I think. No, they're not. No, they're not.
No, it doesn't make sense for
No,
them to throw.
these are scrap. Throw them away.
Sorry.
We had to fix the product file. Well, that's funny.
I wondered that.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Hey, the I made this T-shirt is on the store, right?
It should be, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That is my favorite T-shirt. It's just, I should be wearing it right now.
We're also wearing a new one too, so like all of them are good.
Yeah.
They're both good.
This is so much fun. I'm looking forward to your guys' input on how frequently you want to do this, but also what kind of planes you want to do. I would love to get this in a routine way where families and friends are ready to build, but also we can kind of schedule around this and then build what you guys want to see. So, okay, now this is an A-fold. A-folds are going to be where the side plate is above the bottom plate. So what we want to do is we're going to actually have our side plate on the table this time. We're going to rotate our bottom plate firmly against the table like you see here, and that's going to give us a proper A-fold. So we did one side. After our test fit, we're going to focus the glue on the very bottom of the side plate, and then we're going to leave the side plate against the table, rotate up 90 degrees, and again, these squares are just wonderful to keep everything square and true. We're giving this about 30-40 seconds to dry. This is looking awesome. All right, same process on the other side. We always do a test fit. 90 degrees, that looks good.
All right, Josh.
Yes, sir.
We got a question.
Hold it up 90 degrees.
Dana's RC, will you be selling the 12-foot B17 as a kit?
The 12-foot? No,
Yes.
but John around Christmas time is working on one that may actually even be fully printed that I want to say is 84 inches. 84 or 96, something around there. It's not 12 foot. That 12-foot beast does not transport. I mean, if you have a 17-foot trailer, it will transport, but it'll be a much more manageable size and obviously much more refined and stuff. But talk about an amazing flying airplane. It is incredible. So yeah, we will be working to introduce some monster kits as well that will be larger in size. And what we noticed on especially these warbirds that take more than one motor, you don't need to have 6-cell. You could actually fly like the B-17 off of 4-cell, have great performance and incredible efficiency. So you don't need to swing an 18-inch prop on everything. Okay, so we've done our 2 A-folds here. You're going to notice that the A-fold looks just like it does on the diagram. Our side plates are above the bottom plate. Make sure that your piece looks just like this so it'll fit into the fuselage of your Bloody Baron. All right. Once we have that piece, we're going to focus on our firewall. Now you're going to notice our neat plastic firewall has wings on the bottom side and also little tabs that penetrate into the foam. This is really good to give us extra strength. Now I'm still going to encourage you guys to basically use hot glue and then also tape afterwards to get the most strength possible. But this is going to give us far more rigidity and also hold our power pod nice and square. So we're going to do a quick test fit here, and then we're going to focus our glue right around the front edge. And then I like to just put a line right on the inside edge like that. And then we're just going to press this down in just like that. There we go. And we'll let that dry. Now with our crafty kit, we also have a tape dispenser. It's much bigger than the previous tape that we had. I'm going to pull about 8 inches of tape here. Well, we're going to tear that off. And then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that right around the very front of the firewall, down on the side. And then I'm going to act like I'm gift wrapping. I'm just going to fold each side in and then the bottom, just like that. To also give a little bit more rigidity, I'm going to put a piece of tape on the very bottom, and that's where our Velcro is going to attach to, just to protect it during belly landings and also to let the Velcro stick to it. How are we doing here, guys? It looks like everyone's doing really good.
They're asking if there's STLs available for the new firewall.
So
there are not, but there are a lot of nice designs.
There's beautiful designs. As a matter of fact, this one was inspired by our good friend Dan Sponholz. He designed a beautiful 3D printed one, and we took that, and then we added a couple of things like a little bit larger air holes because the nylon's a little bit stronger than 3D printing. But yeah, if you go to Thingiverse and also our forum sites, you can find firewalls that are similar to what I have right here. Also, if you want to buy 5 packs of these and 2 packs of these, they're available on our store, and they pretty much last forever if you don't have a 3D printer.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah, bud.
You just mentioned the forums.
Yes.
And can you just briefly talk about the just the value and the nature of the forums that we have?
So, you know, Flight Test, we want to inspire people, but one thing we don't have is all the answers, and we don't have excellence in every category of model aviation, but the people that do live on our forums. FlightTest.com will take you to both our articles and also our forum site, and there you're going to meet the most amazing community in the world. And those people not only are active sharing their own projects, but they're also sharing their knowledge through articles and other aspects like that. That is the place to go where you're going to get friendly responses, you're going to get questions answered, and you're going to find expertise way beyond what we have to offer here at Flite Test. We're blessed to be behind the camera and do content, but the treasure really exists within our community, and those people live on our forum. So please check it out. It's family friendly, it's warm, it's encouraging. You don't have to be afraid of asking what people call stupid questions, because there are none, and people just treat each other the way that you want to be treated. So check out our forums, and guys and girls that are on our forums, thank you for setting the standard so high and also contributing the way you do. So yeah, thank you, Lee. I forgot, I got to mention that. All right. So if you notice, I wrapped the front of this, and that way, when you hit ground, when you hit things, which you will if you're doing combat, this is nice and strong. It's going to last a very long time. Okay, at this point, our plane is pretty much ready for electronics here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some of this stuff off to the side. I'm going to grab my electronics, and we're going to start with putting our motor, our ESC, onto this part of our power pod right here. So let's go ahead and grab our power packs, locate our ESC and our motors, and also, if you need to, assemble the X mount on the back of your motor. Thanks for the coffee, Stefan. All right. Yep. Thank you. All right. So if you guys got our value bundle, most likely you got what you see right here. This is our Power Pack B. Now our Power Packs include everything you need to build 90% of our models here, and depending on the size and the performance is what Power Pack it uses here. So I'm just going to open this up here. You're going to have a lot of extra goodies in here. Make sure you save those, because if you build different airplanes, this Power Pack will go from one plane to the other. That's why we call them oftentimes swappables. All right, so let's open this up here, and we'll grab our motor, and we'll also grab our 35 amp ESC here. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and grab 3 of our servos. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this aside right now. We'll come back to this later.
Addicted to RC said drink your coffee before it gets cold.
I got a lot of cool down because I get excited and just start, yeah, it's lava. Thank you for thinking about me that way, buddy. All right, so this is our radial. This is a 2212 motor. It's our Power Pack B here. You're going to have a couple different ways you can mount this on this firewall. You can mount it from the back through 4 screws, or you can mount the X mount and access and mount your motor from the outside. So we're going to put our X mount on there. And our kit does include, our Power Pack does include an actual screwdriver. But what I want to show you here is our new multi-tool that's actually available inside of our new Crafty Kit V2. Inside here, you have 4 hardened tips, including our little Phillips head. This basically, these 4 units here, is going to be everything you need for 99% of our model builds here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get our Phillips head. It's magnetically captured. These tools are really cool, but also you can put them in your pocket and get them anytime you need. So thank you also for the feedback. Oftentimes when we come out with a new tool, come out with a new component, people make comments what they like, what they don't like. We hear it, we make changes. That's why Crafty Kit V2 is out, and that's also why the tools have made a huge leap forward in quality. All right. So you're going to notice that on our actual back of the motor, we have a 19 millimeter spacing and a 16 millimeter spacing. They look like they're square, but they're actually not. Just line up your 19 and your 6 millimeter spacing, and then take your beveled screws and then screw it down. You can choose to use blue Loctite if you wish. Oftentimes I go through planes so much, I'm not too worried about that, but you can definitely use it. And I also hold off tightening all my screws until all 4 of them are in. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now that we have all 4 of them in, we can go ahead and tighten that down just like you see here. There we go. Now the rest of these guys I want to hold on to. I'm going to put them back in the bag. We also give pretty much 5 of every screw, so if you drop one on the floor and lose it, don't worry, you still have it. The next screws I want to locate are going to be my wood screws here. And those wood screws are going to actually tap into our firewall. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and focus on one of the bottom corners here, and I'm just going to pass one screw through at a time. Now the nice thing about our new firewall is it lets a lot more airflow go through the actual power pod itself and reach the ESC. This is incredibly important to keep your ESC nice and cool and keep your performance at its best. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of fold this piece right in here, and then I'm going to line up the first hole. Don't worry about trying to get all 4 of them lined up at the same time. Just start one at a time. We'll pop that through. And then I'm just going to get it down to where it's a couple threads away from being fully seated. Now we took our time to make sure this multi-tool had a Phillips head that gripped really well into the screws that we use. I forget whether it's a Phillips head 4 or what the number is, but you're going to see it doesn't strip out easy or anything like that. There's 2. All right, we got 2. And again, I'm leaving about a half a turn outside just until we get all of them in there.
Hey, Josh, quick question.
Yeah, bud.
From Fred Schmidt.
Hi, Fred.
Same one with his daughter, Michaela, watching.
Hi, Michaela and Fred.
He said, which screws were first?
Okay, the screws that were first are the beveled screw. Noah, are you really good with like zoom in?
I can't zoom in.
Okay, here, I'm going to try to hold it. Tell me if that's in focus. So that screw is going to be what mounts your X mount to the back of your motor. Are we getting it right there? How's that look?
I mean, it's in frame and it's somewhat.
If you have something white to put behind it.
Yes.
There you go.
That's the first screw you want to use. Okay.
Hey Josh, Dan wants to know where the dad jokes are.
Where the dad jokes are?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
All right.
It's been in every live stream.
What do you call a fish with no eyes?
I don't know. What do you call that, Josh? Dun, dun, dun.
No one?
Crickets. Crickets.
That's why there's no dad jokes.
That's funny.
Hey, by the way, huge shout outs to everybody because along with all the families building, there's also a lot of people volunteering here. And thank goodness for that because I don't talk too loud. So I'm talking to you with a microphone, but no one else can hear me. So without them, they wouldn't be bouncing around. So these guys are awesome and gals.
Frank said, got it, thanks.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, make sure.
Fred, I'm sorry.
Fred, thank you, Fred.
My bad.
Yeah, and make sure you'll see on one side of the X mount you have actually a concave to receive those screws properly. So make sure you have that part facing out. All right, once I have all 4 screws in there, I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down the rest of the way, and it should look like this. All right, I'm just going to temporarily take my lock nut that we have here, and I'm going to turn it on. Notice I'm not putting my prop on. Safety first. You never want to put your prop on until right before you go out and fly. Now I can go ahead and take my extra screws. You never know when you're going to need them. I'll put it in my box, and I'll put it with my crafty kit. Now that plastic tub there is perfect for holding extra screws and components, also going in your flight bag. Now that we have our motor on, let's go ahead and pop out our ESC. Now this ESC is way bigger than what we need for a Power Pack B, but what we've done is we standardized between the C and the B. So that way, say you have a Power Pack B and you have a Power Pack C, ESCs can be cross-compatible with each other. Also, a lot of people are asking what this little red connector is for. What this is actually back probed into your battery leads. So whatever voltage you put on here, whether it's 3-cell or 4-cell, you're going to get that same voltage here. Where that's really useful is say you have LED lights that you want to power that are 12 volts. You can put that on that JST and power it so when you plug it in, you instantly got power. Or maybe you have FPV that you want to tap into. This is nothing but an accessory port that gives you the ability to get battery voltage out of your ESC in a way to operate accessories. So that's what that's for. Also, our motor and our ESC have lifetime warranties. All we ask is basically that you send us a picture of what's going on. You send us back the old one, we send you a new one. These are incredibly good quality here, and then we want them to last you a lifetime. So, okay, we're gonna take our 3 bullet connectors, 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna connect them. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and grab our servo tester. Our servo tester is going to be what we use to check the rotation of our motor, but also we're going to be using that to center our servos. So I'm going to grab that out of our crafty kit. Where did I put? Oh, there it is. I'm going to grab that right here. That's actually included in our crafty kit V2 as well. And where I'm going to be putting this is I'm going to be putting this on the input side. So the ESC delivers 5 volts going out. I'm going to match up the signal wire. And with our new servo testers, all the pins are going to go horizontal. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, all of them running horizontal, not vertically. This is really important so you don't damage your servos or damage your servo tester. So now what we can do is grab a battery. We're going to power this up. Oh, and I'm lying to you. We want this to be on the output side because we're checking it right here. You like Bloody Barons? Hey, sweetie, come back here. So I thought that was a little kid until I looked behind me and I saw that was actually my wife. Hey, sweetie, if you're going to do that, you got to show them the shirt that you're wearing. Did someone tackle her and bring her back? So my wife has a lovely shirt that says Original Hecklers, and she lives up to that word. Love you, dear. I am blessed with an awesome wife. Okay. We're plugged into the output this time. So now whenever I go ahead and I give this voltage, or turn this knob, I'm going to be able to see which way this is turning. Now I want this to turn counterclockwise. Right now it's turning clockwise. So the way that I'm going to reverse this is I'm going to switch 2 of the 3 leads. There's 2. Now I can plug this back in. And now we're moving counterclockwise. That's exactly what we want here. All right. So we're going to leave this basic setup that we have here because we can use this now. We can actually use this to be able to set up our other servos and make sure the deflection and everything's working properly. The only thing we want to do is we want to move it from output to now the input side, making sure that our ground and our signal wires are on the proper pin, just like that. Okay, so we basically now have a servo testing equipment right here. Let's go ahead and bring back our airplane, and now we can start putting electronics into our airplane. All right, let's go ahead and pick on the more difficult one first here. We're going to do our fuselage. So grab your fuselage here, and also grab your control horns and your push rods. Okay. You're going to also notice in our premium pack, the push rods are chrome. They no longer leave the black smudgy stuff on your fingers. Thank you for your suggestions on that because that's from you guys. Again, you're going to have more push rods, more landing gear wire than you actually need. Just hold on to those for future builds. All right. Now that we have our push rods and control horns, we're also going to grab our servos. We're going to straighten out the leads, and the first servo we're going to work on is going to be for our rudder here. So we're going to pass our rudder lead down through the top hole that you see here. And we're going to temporarily seat it into place. Hold off gluing at the moment because we have a little bit of adjustment that we can do. Along with that, we also have a couple different control horns in our servos. We're going to locate the one that has a single arm, like what you see here. Let's go ahead, and these should be already pre-centered. We can check that out before we lock everything down. I'm going to go ahead and sit this right on here, just like that. All right. Now with our control horns, we're going to pass our pushrod wire through the top hole of our control horn, just like here. So the farther out from your hinge line you are, the less control you're going to have. You don't want too much control on the Bloody Baron. Too much control is going to make it incredibly difficult to fly. Try to do this in favor of the camera here. We're temporarily going to pass this down through the slot. Again, we're not gluing anything. And, of course, I got to get some pliers.
What do you need?
Pliers. Can you know? Oh, thanks, buddy. You sure you're good?
I'm good for now.
I thought I had everything. Okay. What's really important here with this temporarily in place, we're going to locate the third hole from the center of the servo. You don't want to go all the way to the end of your servo arm, or the control is going to be too extreme. It's not going to fly good. That's for different applications. So go from your servo screw and then count out 3 holes. And if you're using the older style servos or ES802s, I believe you're going to go to the second hole out. So you're looking for roughly about 1/4 inch from the actual servo screw itself. And now what I like to do is I like to go ahead and mark with my fingernail. Once this is neutral, right on our elevator, I like to mark with our fingernail just on the one side of the hole. Then I can grab that. I'm going to grab it about 2 millimeters or so up from the bend, and I'm going to pull it straight towards me. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Now, for any reason you cut or you bent this and it didn't bend exactly how you want it, don't worry about that. You can easily go back. You have plenty of extra pushrod material. Make a new one. All right, I'm going to lift my servo horn up, or my servo arm up. I'm going to go to that third hole out. If you're a beginner in the hobby, you can actually go to the second hole out or even the closest. You only need about 12 degrees deflection either way. And if you have a non-computerized radio, the mechanical setup is going to be much easier for you to set this up than trying to move the controls just very little at a time. Now, if you have a computer setup, you could dial this all the way in your transmitter, but it will kind of cause you some resolution issues. So it's always best to try to set it up out of the box. I'm just going to go ahead and do a preliminary test fit. You can see my servo arm is 90 degrees. You can see that my elevator is perfectly parallel with the top of my stabilizer. Everything looks really good. Now what I can do that I have that, I can pop this up first. I'm going to place just a simple bead of glue right over that slot in my elevator. Oh, I'm sorry, what am I doing? I did it for the elevator. I was supposed to do it for the rudder. Let me change this to 90 degrees. Beep. I put the, I practiced this too. I just put the elevator control horn in the rudder slot. So we want to change this up. Forgive me, guys.
Did you make a boo-boo?
I made a boo-boo. I'm human. I'm human. That's okay. We can fix it. Because it's the same exact space. All right. Let's see here where we got it. All right. I'm going to make a new control horn. This is why we have editing, guys. All right. New Z-bend. Maybe I should have drank more coffee like the one gentleman recommended.
Right?
All right. Furthest, for the rudder, furthest out from it. We'll plug it back in. Sorry, friends. I'm human. All right. Third hole out. We're going to keep this nice and level. Just a little bit more. A little bit more. There we are. There we go. And we're going to cut it. Just going to pass the servo arm right through and down. There we go. And as you can see, she's nice and solid here. Now in our kit, we're going to have some zip ties here. Now those zip ties are incredibly useful for acting as guides for our control horns. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass this through and we're going to make the zip tie go right around our control horn. And we're going to not cinch it tight on the control horn. We're going to pinch it so it glides easily back and forth. Now that we have that, we're going to cut this at an angle. And now what we can do is we can take this to our rudder. We're going to go right in between these two sections. And we're going to poke it through just like you see here. This is going to offer support so the wire will not be able to bend when we're flying really fast. It's really important that the wire doesn't have any flex to get proper control of all your surfaces. Once we pop that through, we can put a little tiny drop of glue right on that hole. And then we're going to pass it through one more time. And from that point on, we're going to give this about 40 seconds to dry. While that's drying, I'm going to take my servo screw and I'm going to screw down my control horn or control arm.
Did you just delete somebody? Yeah. Two pointer wires like this.
There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to lift up my rudder servo. I'm going to put a drop of glue on both sides. And now I can pop my control horn loose and put a thin bead of glue right over top of that slot. I'll pass my control horn through. And I have a little bit of wiggle factor so I can make sure everything stays nice and square. Now the one thing that's new about our premium control horns and everything, we have a backing plate. Now this is a backing plate that you can put on, but I strongly recommend still gluing your control horns in. This is simply something that's going to keep your control horns from ever fatiguing. And all we simply need to do is push out on the back plate. The horn itself is actually grooved, so it'll capture that. Just press it down into place. There we go. And now we have a nice strong joint that's never going to fatigue. All right, let's do the exact same process now on the elevator. The elevator this time is going to be on the very bottom. All right, we're going to show you something new here. Let me see here. I can actually cut off the end. I'll use the push rod that I made an error with. There we go. We'll grab another servo. Are we doing okay with everything? Awesome. If you guys notice, I start building and then the clutter kind of comes in. Put this underneath here. There we are. And again, we're going to locate the servo arm. That's a single servo arm on the new style servos, FT9Gs. And I want my servo arm to favor farther away from the actual elevator. So I want my lead pointing towards the nose. I'm going to place my servo arm at 90 degrees. The biggest benefit with our new servos is that either 90 on both sides is directly matched up. So I think it has an even or an odd number of teeth to give us that ability. That was, again, one of the big feedbacks that you guys gave us. Also, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we screw down our control horn now, because once we glue this in, it's going to be very difficult to get our servo arm screw in there. So we'll go ahead and put that in right now. If at any time you accidentally move your servo, they come pre-centered, we can always grab our power pod and we can actually hook up our servo. We can plug in with our battery. And now what we can do is we have the ability to click this little button on the bottom, and you can see we can cycle our servo. We have manual control of our servo. Or we can go to the middle, which is centering. So this is nice and centered. We can always recenter as many times as we need. This is centered, we're good to go. Okay.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Bixler?
Yes, sir.
The question is, any chance of a European distributor?
Yeah, our good friends at J. Perkins and also Linger are distributing our products right now. So go ahead and check those two sites out, and you should be able to see them whether in Europe or the UK. Yeah, great question. I'm going to go ahead and temporarily fit my control horn in here. We're going to make sure that the holes of our control horn are directly over our hinge line. That's going to give us even deflection both ways. Our next step is that we're going to temporarily lay this in with the wire going forward. And just like before, we're going to hold our rod, our push rod, right over the holes, marking with our thumb. Right there. Again, we have a little bit of wiggle room, so you don't have to worry about getting this absolutely perfect. We're going to bend 90 degrees this way, which will pass through the servo arm. And then we're going to go ahead and bend 90 degrees vertical. And then we can cut off the extra.
Quick question, Mr. Bixler.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any plan for Flite Fest to return to Texas? I've answered this one time that we're not going to return to Texas, but
Yeah.
anything else?
Missouri.
What about Missouri?
Yeah, what about Missouri? So our goal is next year, I believe, Lee.
Yes.
We're going to be having 2 Flite Fests. We're going to be actually going to Missouri. Our good friend John Overstreet lives in Missouri. That's also where a lot of our Master Series kits are manufactured. And we're going to be looking at locations to have a Flite Fest Midwest. So we've had Texas, we've had Florida, we've had California. We've never had a Midwest event. This is a great opportunity to do so. So next year, we're looking at having Flite Fest Ohio. This time it'll be the end of June. And then Flite Fest Midwest at the end of the summer. That's the goal, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. There's no dates.
No
dates for Flite Fest Midwest, but the dates for Flite Fest Ohio are the 23rd of June through the 26th.
Yeah. So Flite Fest Ohio for next year, this is the earliest we've ever announced it, June 23rd through 26th.
Yes.
June 23rd through 26th, put on your calendar, Flite Fest Ohio, not July next year, but June next year. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you for your feedback on that. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm actually scratching the surface of the servo to make it more grippy so it doesn't come loose in flight. This is a really cool tip to make sure your servos glue. And now what we can do is we can get this perfectly situated back and forth to where this lines up perfect. So even if your push rod's off a little bit, don't worry, you can easily fix that. All right, we're happy with that. Let's see. Yep, that looks good. Now that we have our arm the right direction, or the right length, I'm going to pump this full of glue on the bottom here. And I'm going to wiggle this down in, and all my energy is going to be just making sure that the elevator and the stabilizer are lined up together. Again, I'm sorry about earlier accidentally going to the elevator instead of the rudder. We're just going to give this probably about 40 seconds to a minute to fully cure. We'd never want to rush this part because if you lose control of your elevator, you lose pitch control, and that's a bad thing. I mean, everyone's doing so good here. How are people building along? Are they doing okay?
Doing well.
So
Wonderful.
far, so good.
We only have 1 servo left, which is awesome. This build is so far right on track. Hey, do me a favor, friends. Let me know, what do you guys think of this build? What would be something you'd like to see for another build? Would you like to see an arrow? Would you like to see something more complicated? Maybe even a 2-part build where we do one half of the build on one week and then we come back. Or even for new releases. Maybe when we put out a new release, I'm working on a couple new ones. I know John is. We have like 3 weeks after, so everyone can get their kits, a time to do a simul build together. I like this fellowship time. I like time building with people here, and I like time building with you. So let us know if you like this and also what we can do better.
Hey Dad, people are wanting the ME262.
The ME262 for a build? Why do you guys hate me? You say how much I love spending time with them, and then they want a 262. You know what? That's fine. They want a 262. We'll do a 262, but it won't be all in one day because there's not enough coffee for my body to handle.
It'll be a 6-week series.
A 6-week. I think we could do a 262 in probably 4 settings.
Oh, we could do it in 2. We could do the main body and then the wing.
And then they electric.
And then a test car.
Are they serious about it? I love the 262. It is probably one of my favorite planes.
I just want to see it.
And this one?
All right.
Hey, wait a second, Josh.
Yeah.
That was a setup question. No, don't be eyeballing me. Eyeball your son.
First, my wife heckles me. Then my son behind the computer. I'm not safe here, guys. All right. Same thing that we're doing with the control or with the zip tie. We have a zip tie, and we're going to go ahead and go about a 1/2 inch from there. We're going to cut a sharp beveled cut on the zip tie itself. That's going to be our push rod guide tube. If you wanted, you could also use this. This is really good. We're going to save this for later. And I'm just going to go ahead and puncture this right in the middle, down through the foam. There's one layer. So no one asked about the ME262, right?
No.
All right, I don't blame them for wanting to build it. I don't even blame you for wanting to build it, but that would be a crazy... Okay, So the ME262 is a limited series, which means basically you have a PDF, you don't have a build video. It is meant for the builder of builders. It is an intense build, but it is incredibly rewarding build. So that would be awesome. You know what? If we're doing a 262, John Overstreet's leading that one. So, all right.
Hoskins said simple stick.
Ooh, simple stick would be a ball.
Possibly even a C-duck.
So I'm actually working on a new design no one's seen. It's another simple series. It's meant to take all the awesome looks and characteristics of an apprentice, a cadet, an Eagle 2, a lot of the classic airplanes that we grew up on, but also planes that are out there, and kind of mash it together. It can be a tail dragger or it can be a tricycle gear. That has similar notes to a simple stick. So maybe we'll do a simple stick, and then after that, maybe we can do. We haven't even named it yet. So, what do you want to do?
I want to call it the Flirkin.
The Flirkin. He wants to name my new design a Flirkin. We have a second. Can I design a Flirkin versus name that plane? That is anything but a Flirkin. A Flirkin is that cat that like in
Yeah, but it goes from a cat to this monster. So it's a monster smashed
that
up
just
into
sounds
a
like
cat.
a plane that looks like it should be a trainer, but is a terrible flyer.
No, it's a beast.
It's a beast.
It's a beast.
Sounds like we should have a cracking contender called the Flirkin.
Not to
So-
change the subject.
Okay, sorry guys, I didn't mean to rabbit trail on you.
Steven Monter says, "Hey Josh, did you say what happened to the B-17 that is
we go.
getting repaired?"
So B-17 has one more video in it. So if you guys haven't seen today, we blew apples through the B-17 at about 300 miles an hour. That plane lived up to its name of being a flying fortress. It's been repaired. David Jester and Jason McQuist and two team members here that are just incredible. They did the repair to it, but also they detailed this thing out. It looks incredible. And we have one more episode that we collaborated with Peter Schriepel. And wait till you see it. Fireworks. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right, so here's what the bottom looks like. And the last thing we need to do is we need to glue in our control horn. So we're going to pop this off. We're going to put a thin bead of glue right over that slot. We're going to pass it through. And this again is another chance to get everything perfectly lined up. And then we can take our backer plate and we can press it down on the other side. Yeah. Yeah, check the ailerons for sure, because oftentimes when that happens, it's so easy to have a control surface backwards, specifically your ailerons. Oh my gosh, it's going wrong, and then boop, boop. But also tail heavy. Torque on an airplane is so much more noticed when the plane starts getting tail heavy. And if you're doing something like a warbird, like with a big prop and a small wing like a oftentimes, if you're not letting that wing get enough speed, it'll torque over. So if you have a racer or an incredibly fast airplane, the torque of that motor can be an issue, and sometimes it's better to fly it launching it like half throttle versus full throttle. Great question. Yeah. Okay. Well, our fuselage is pretty much done, friends. Let's go ahead and put this aside. Let's go ahead and go to our wing and do our ailerons, and we'll put it all together, and we have a finished airplane. Let me take a moment and clean up my work surface here. A B-36, what is that? 6 glowing, 6 blowing? 6 turning, 4 burning. Thank you. I always forget which number that is. So right after the Howard Hughes airplane, after the Spruce Goose. It would be. Would that be the Foam Falcon? That would be terrible to name something the Spruce Goose that wasn't made out of spruce. We'd have to do like a spruce wing or something. All right, let's take one more servo. So we're going to use 3 servos on this build. Let's pop out our pieces. This time we are going to use the T servo arm, or I should say the one going on each side. We're going to use the one that looks like this. Right there.
Hey Josh.
Yes, sir.
What glue gun, what hot glue gun do you recommend?
Okay. Shameless plug time.
It is a shameless plug, it was asked.
The FT300 is made for all applications of RC model aviation. How was that? Was that pretty good? No, seriously. This is cool because it can hold it sideways. I like the 300. The 80 is awesome too, but the neat thing about the 300, you can dial it down. A lot of people think, again, more heat means more adhesion. It just means more blisters. I use the high heat when I'm gluing wood to foam board or wood to wood, but then oftentimes I dial it down to the cooler heat. It gives a nice smooth stream. If I have a bad repair and I need to gap fill, I can turn this thing to low and squirt out, which is basically like just hard hot glue, and fill gaps with it. So this is awesome. It's also cheaper than our previous AdTech 200. It's more has more temperature to it, and it holds its own as far as delivery. I think the AdTech 200 still can out-deliver just a little bit, maybe by about 10%, but that's only when you're working on huge things like Krakens and bigger. This can hold its own. We love it. We put it in our kits. The 80 watt that we offer has also been tested. It's fantastic as well too. It just doesn't have the temperature ability, but they both deliver the same glue sticks, and works great.
Both available at
the FT store. Shameless plug done.
Love it.
Was that a question, or were you baiting me?
No, it was.
Oh, okay, good.
Actual question.
I'm proud of that glue gun. We put a lot of heart into that glue gun. All right. That was terrible. All right, we're going to put our servo arm on that looks just like this at 90 degrees. Am I getting roasted?
No. So you have Aaron F. Geared. He says, I'm using this stream as an excuse not to mate in my new plane. I'm scared.
Oh my God, you can do it! So here's a very important thing with the servo. Get your servo arm as far away from the hinge line as possible. So have that servo and the lead pointing towards the nose of the airplane. This is for the geometry of this, which is pretty awkward on this plane, but it works really good. Also, do not, under any circumstances, go to the far out holes on this. You're only going to be using the second or third holes out to get the proper throw. So make sure that you're going to that one. I got everything loosely connected. Same process as before now. We're going to go ahead and temporarily put in, this time, one control horn. We're going to bend our wires, and we're going to do this on both sides of the aileron. I'm going to favor this on the farthest out hole of the control horn. And I'm going to go on this one, I'm going to go to the third hole out. You can choose second or third. If you go out any further, what you're going to have is a very uneven deflection just because of the geometry of this design to work off of one servo. So we're going to go here. I'm going to go ahead and mark this with my thumb. I'm looking at the very far edge here, getting it nice and lined up. We have a little bit of correction we can do. And now that I have that, I'm going to bend this up vertical. Boop. And then I'm going to grab it again, and I'm going to bend this out. This is awesome, guys. I'm loving this. Thank you so much for building along with us. Oop. We got to make that a little bit more 90. We're going to go to the third hole out. If you're using the ES0882 servos, go to the second hole out if I'm not mistaken. These are our new FT 9 grams that are included in our power packs that are getting phased in. There we go. No need for any kind of internal supports for this. We're going to do the other one before we glue anything down. I'm going to use the same piece that I just cut short because there's plenty more control horn. 1 and 2, and then bend. There we go.
Hey Josh.
Yes, sir.
On the push rods, we've got, I guess it's an Aussie from down under, from Australia.
Hi.
He's asking if there's a home hack for push rods. He scratch builds.
Yeah. So there's what I call a modified Z-bend. I'll just use this again because maybe I'm not showing it very well. What you're going to do is a good home hack is you grab the push rod wire, you bend it 90 degrees first. There's your 90 degrees. The second that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go down about 2 millimeters, right there, about the width of your control horn, and then you're going to bend it 90 degrees the opposite direction. So you're not going to bend it in line trying to make a perfect Z-bend. You're going to actually bend it 90 degrees as how you're gripping it. So here's your 90 degree again. What that's going to give you is now you have what we call a modified Z-bend. Now these are really useful because once you cut this down, you can actually rotate this up into your hole. If you want to make a conventional Z-bend, all you do is you grab this whole entire piece and then you slowly bend it 90 degrees like this. And then, of course, we're going to cut off any excess. And when you do that, you end up with a perfect Z-bend just like that. Great question. All right, speaking of Z-bends, I'm gonna do my last Z-bend here. And I'm gonna get this nice and flush. I'm gonna go to the third hole out. I'm gonna mark with my fingernail. And just like how I showed before a second ago, we're gonna bend that 90 degrees up. That's gonna be what passes through our control arm. And now I'm gonna grab that about 2 millimeters and I'm gonna bend it to the outside direction towards the wingtip. And then I'm gonna cut it about 1/4 inch off. Then I'm gonna pass this through.
We already did that.
There we go. All right. So nothing's been glued down yet. I have a little bit of wiggle room back and forth on my servo arm and a little bit of wiggle room on my control horns like you see here. What I want to make sure is, I'll just grab this triangle. I want to make sure that this is nice and flush and it's not deflected up or down on both sides with the servo currently leveled. Now anytime you can go back, you can check the center of your servo. This hasn't moved at all on me, so I'm good to go. Once we're happy with this, what I would recommend is first gluing down your control arms and then gluing down your main servo. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, a thin bead of glue is all you need. Press this down into place. And then I'm just going to use my triangle square and hold that into place just like that. And then we'll do the other side. I'm really curious how many people are going to be posting pictures of them flying after this. I'm excited.
Here's a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Jack, right there. Someone asked, can I use insulation foam as building material for medium to large airplanes?
You sure can. You absolutely can, and it works really good, especially if you have a hot wire cutter. So,
Jorge Ty, I believe it is, asked if there was if we were ever going to make a giant scale commuter of Ben Harper's, which was done.
yeah, Big Al.
Yeah, if he looks back in the videos, he can find it.
Yeah, Big Al was definitely done. It was really cool. You guys can blow up the plans and definitely make a Big Al for sure. So yeah, great. Yeah, giant commuter. All right, 2 drops of glue on each side of the control or the servo. Press it down. And now I can force it forwards and backwards just to make sure everything looks good, and it does. And I'm going to get my servo screw here. Got my multi-tool. And we'll screw this down. Everyone's doing an awesome job. You doing good? Awesome. So this airplane, like I said before, is definitely an intermediate, depending on how you power it, all the way to advanced. If you guys are building this as your first airplane, what I'd recommend is look to the FT Aura 5. FT Aura 5 is going to give you features like launch assist, it's going to give you level assist, basically make it fly like a trainer, but also give you the ability to level out at any time you need. The neat thing about that, I got my demo plane here. I've been teaching kids as young as 5 how to fly this airplane through the week, and all you have to do is mount the Aura 5 just like you see here. So if you're a beginner and you're building along and like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be scary to fly, look into the FT Aura 5. There's a lot of really great videos. This can grow with you all the way up to a 12-foot B-17 if you want. It makes every plane simply easier to approach and also rescue use, but also makes it fly really good in the windy conditions. We've flown this in 60-mile-an-hour plus wind. It's incredible how powerful that little board is. Huge thanks to Flex for helping us get it out to the public. All right.
Hey, Josh.
Yes, sir.
We got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Music Man says, how about designing and flying some indoor microplanes? Winter is coming and school gymnasiums are a great place to teach kids. What do you have to say about that?
Check out our Easy line. So you knew that I was going to say that, huh? Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah. So we have a stem line called the FT Easies, and Easies is basically you have a control board, you have 2 motors, and you build these small little airplanes out of either Depron, paper, foam board, and they're absolutely incredible. We have 2 different planes that are, basically you build them in 15 minutes. They're molded. But you also have about 9 different designs and 3 different 3-packs. We have the First Flyers, Project Space Flight, and now our new FT Easy Jets. Every one of them, when you buy that 3-pack, comes with a curriculum. And on top of that, they make great indoor flyers. Look at that. Okay. So this is our 3-channel easy airliner. This is from Project Jets. This is our stealth fighter. This is our F-18 as an awesome chuck lighter. It flew all the way across the room. You can't see that. And they fly fantastic. So that's what I'd recommend. If you want really good indoor planes, look at our Project Space Flight. That has our Orbit and our Voyager and the bird of, not bird of prey, the Nemesis. And all 3 of those are fantastic for indoors. They're tested indoors. So great for the winter, and you better believe more easies are coming. Okay, now this is dry. Let's go ahead and put on our backing plates, and then we can glue on our wing. There's one. And there's 2. All right, at this point we have a completed fuselage and we can have a completed wing. Let's go ahead and glue those together. Now, say you're traveling and you want to make these removable, you can put 2 barbecue skewers in and actually rubber band your wing down. But for this case, I'm just going to go ahead and glue these together because we're going to go ahead and fly this hard and hit a lot of things. I don't want it to move. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pass our servo wire right on through. We'll do a quick test fit. The 2 tabs are going to line up just like that, nice and perpendicular and nice and strong. Once we're happy with that and we make sure that our servo wire is pushed all the way through, we can go ahead and lift it up, and we're going to repeat the exact same process as we did before. You don't have to go crazy with the glue. Just put 2 nice beads of glue right down on each side. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the servo arm right on through as I set it down into place. Little wiggle is all you need. What we want to make sure is we want to make sure that the wing is firmly against the top of the fuselage on both sides. So we'll just press down like that. I'm going to use the flat of my hand. I'm going to hold that in place for a good minute. Any questions while we're holding in place?
I kind of want to say it only because I think it's hilarious. Just another ordinary dude says, how about a foam animal series where you build birds of prey, hawks, eagles, owls, and make them fly? That could be fun.
The Sparrow's pretty close to that already. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
They should check out. Remember we did that EDF at Flite Fest one time where they made the owl, or they made the hawk?
The hawk, yeah.
To train
the
hawks, whatever.
The falcon.
Yeah, the falcon.
The falcon trainer.
Yeah. They make those.
They do, and they're awesome.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Bloody Baron or Simple Scout, which would you recommend as a first 4-channel plane?
Simple Scout. Nothing against the Bloody Baron, but the neat thing about the Simple Scout is you have the speed range and need growth range. You can meet you as a total beginner newbie and then take you all the way to advanced. This is really jumping straight into the intermediate, where if someone's going to jump into this first, I strongly recommend putting an Aura board on it. You're going to have a faster airplane that takes up more ground, but it will still be very easy to fly. Just follow along with the setup video. You don't need a computer for the Baron. The Scout, you necessarily don't need an Aura 5 to be able to learn how to fly it properly, because you can start as a 3-channel, work into a 4-channel, and then go 4-cell later. Yeah, great question. All right, so our wings together, our fuselage is together. Our next step here is we are going to go ahead and connect our receiver. I'm going to bring out my electronics right here. All we simply need is a simple 4-channel receiver. I'm going to use this little guy right here. I already have a new channel done. We're going to have to bind this. And the way that we're going to plug this in is channel 1 is going to be into port, is going to be our throttle. So there we go. Get this guy going here. Let me find my signal wire. I think it's on the top. Let's find out. There's one. Channel 2 is going to be our ailerons. Channel 3 is going to be our elevator. And channel 4 is going to be our rudder. There we go. I'm going to grab my battery here. I got a Lumineer. I'm going to grab my TAT2 1300 here. 3-cell. And while I plug this in, I'm going to hold down the button on this Spectrum receiver. You're going to see I have a flashing light. That's my bind light. The important thing whenever you're binding here is to make sure you get your transmitter at least 4 feet away from your actual receiver. So I'm going to hold this back. I'm going to hold down my bind button. It's binding, and there we go. We have it. In any second, I should be able to check my controls. Yes?
All right, quick question for you. Does the new F-16 have an option to put a pusher configuration?
It doesn't have an option for a pusher configuration, but is our F-16 around here with the twins?
I don't know.
I think it's, is it shoved in my office? All right, we're gonna get this. The F-16, we did a mod on it, and the neat thing about limited series is basically it's up to you on how you want to power it. It can do an EDF, it can do a BDF, which is Ben's ducted fan, which you can 3D print, or we're gonna have those available in the store soon. My favorite setup for just like electronics laying around is to actually do a twin boom, twin motor setup that's actually pulling it through the air. The props are just kind of right in front of the leading edge. It gets airflow over the elevator and also the aileron. You can also 3D this thing and hover it like a 3D model airplane, so it's pretty darn cool. Stefan's gonna find that for you, and I can show you what that looks like on one of our earliest prototypes. Now I got all my electronics hooked up here. I wanna go through how to make sure all the controls are going the right direction. First, we're gonna look at the elevator. When I pull back on the elevator, it should go up. This does that and has the exact same deflection that I wanna see, so that's perfect. So pull back on the elevator, on the stick, elevator goes up. When I move my aileron to the right aileron should go up, and it doesn't. So that means my right aileron is backwards. Let's go also and check my rudder. When I move my rudder stick to the right, I should see my rudder deflect to the right, and it doesn't. So my aileron and my rudder need to be reversed. We're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Here you go. Here, bring it on in, Stefan. So this is one of the very earliest F-16s. But what my son and I did is we actually put 2 Versacopter mounts, and we mounted a twin engine configuration right at the crease here. This plane can hover on nose high, it can fly fast like a jet, but it can also do crazy things like pinwheels, flat spins, all that other stuff. And besides the pink props, if it had clear props, you would barely even notice it was not an EDF. So this is a great setup. What we're thinking about, and if you guys want, is to do a tech channel on how to do this, so that way when you get your limited build, we can then link to it, and this will be an option for you. So we'll have that available on the store as like a kit with the Versacopter boom mounts and the Versacopter boom itself. So, all right, let's go ahead and go to servo setup. We are on the home stretch here. Reverse, we're gonna reverse our aileron, and we're gonna reverse our rudder. So now when I push it to the right, aileron goes right. When I push to the left, left aileron goes up. And now when I move my rudder to the left and to the right, it corresponds properly as well. Let's also make sure that our motor's running, and it's still running the proper direction. Everything is good. I'm now gonna go ahead and unplug my battery, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my power pod on the airplane. Now, a very easy way to make this easy to hook up is I'm gonna cut a little tiny rectangle on the one side of my power pod, and that's gonna be where I'm gonna pass through my battery connection wire. So let's grab my knife here, and I'm just gonna cut a little tiny rectangle right here. It's incredible. I wish you guys could. Can they see what we're seeing with everyone building? Noah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely incredible site.
Pictures and videos
Yeah.
of first flights and everything.
Oh, please do that, friends. We want to see you and your friends and family, even if you're alone. We want to see your guys' experience, even your crashes and stuff. It's all part of the journey. Please be free to share that, or feel free to share that. We want to celebrate that and see that with you, and also inspire others. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a little drop of hot glue, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the servo or the receiver right to the side, like you see here. Next, I'm going to slide this down in, and I'm going to let the 2 back tabs here push into the fuselage itself. That's going to hold it down, but you notice our front's a little floppy. The way that we're going to fix that is we're going to take our barbecue skewer. We're going to go right through the nose. I'm going to hold this up. It's going to line out with 2 pre-cut holes right here. I'm going to press that through about 3/4 of an inch on each side, just like that. Now I can cut 2 barbecue skewer pieces about 1 inch long each. There's one. And there's 2. My next step is, now that I made these holes, I'm just going to pop this down and pop this off like that. I'm going to put a drop of glue in each hole. And with a twisting motion, I'm going to twist this through till only about 1/4 of an inch sticks out. That C-fold that we did earlier is going to be what actually gives us the proper thrust angle to make this fly right. So now that I have that, I can slide this right over, put our firewall on there. It should line up perfectly. And then again, I'm going to press this in on the back like you see here. All right, so I hope I can show you this okay. This is pressed into the tabs on the back. And our front nose is tabbed in with our 2 barbecue skewers. Our last step is to go on each side, and we're going to puncture a hole right through the fuselage. It should line up with our power pod. And then we're going to go to the other side. And once we've done that, we should be able to pass it from one side all the way to the other, and leave about 1/4 of an inch on each side, and then cut off the excess.
Hey Josh.
Yes, sir.
Max wants to know, what hot wire cutter do you recommend?
Hot Wire Foam Factory has a lot of great cutters. If you're looking for a CNC cutter, we just partnered with them recently. That's going to be actually what makes the bigger projects possible for us, and also some new designs that we're going to be coming out with in 2022. So if you're looking for a CNC hot wire cutter, Hot Wire Foam Factory, but also I think they even have bows and stuff that they sell. So really good suppliers of all hot wire tools. Yeah, great question. Okay.
Hey, about that hot wire foam cutter.
Yeah.
FTCA has, if you're an FTCA member.
Yeah.
In the previous months, we have had
Discount codes.
Discount codes for those,
Yeah.
so that might be something to look forward to.
So friends, if you're part of the FTCA, every month you get different emails giving you updates on policy, but also a tremendous amount of discount codes, not only from Flite Test, but from our other partners. That could be Greg from Pilot Institute. It could also be Hot Wire Foam Factory. So Hot Wire Foam Factory gave us an awesome discount code in previous ones. If you haven't become an FTCA member, make sure you do so, because every month the savings is way more than what you spend for an entire year. It's incredible. Okay, now our power pod is in. We're going to go ahead and we're going to install our prop, and we're going to install our Velcro, and then we're going to check our balance, and we're ready to fly. All right, so let's see, where is our prop? There it is. All right.
Stem bundles, is there a 4-channel bundle?
4-channel bundle?
Yeah.
There is stem kits, and I believe we have stem kits around our Simple Cub and our Explorer and those bundles, but I hate to say, I'd have to check and see what exact bundles they have. They have them built for classrooms. We are working to get a economical transmitter and get a solution for that. So check that out. I think right now we're bundling with the DXS and the Explorer, and also the Simple Scout. All right, let's go ahead and install our prop here. We always want to make sure that we install our props at the very end of the build before we go out and fly, because we don't want to take any chances of cutting our fingers. We can spin this on, and then we have our lock nut here. Sorry, I didn't grab my prop wrench. We have those too, but I'm too impatient. Okay, there we go. And the last thing we'd like to locate here is we're going to locate our Velcro. Now this is a lot more Velcro than what we need, so I'm just going to take my knife, I'm going to cut it in half. There we go. And on this battery I have fuzzy. I used to say fuzzy fuselage, but I realized that means the prickly's on the battery. You put the battery in your pocket, you pull out all the lint in your pocket. So now it's prickle plane. So we're going to put the prickly side on the plane, and we're going to put that about 1 inch back from the nose of our airplane to get the balance that we want. So we're going to stick it right about here and put that on. Now when we stick our battery on, our battery is going to depict our balance. So if we put our battery right about here, and then we go right by the line of our fuselage, you're going to notice that it balances pretty much perfectly. Now you can fly this from a 1300 all the way up through a 2200, and even heavier if you want. A 1300 is going to give us great flight characteristics and also make it easy to balance. So this is good if you want a little bit more nose heavy for windier conditions. You can move it forward. If you want a little bit more tail heavy, you can shift it back. Last thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to my transmitter, and this is strictly just a preference. We're going to dial 30% expo on our elevator, aileron, and our rudder. The reason is because this is an incredibly maneuverable airplane. We don't want to have it too twitchy. By dialing our expo to 30%, we can make the sticks a little bit softer as we fly smooth, but if we want to do anything extreme, we can really crank it up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into my dual rates. And I'm going to dial this up to 30 on my aileron. And I'm going to dial up to 30 on my elevator. And I'm going to dial up to 30 on my rudder. Now, based on your skill set and how you want to fly, if you're a newbie, I would definitely recommend dialing this back to about a 1/4 inch deflection on each of your controls, which is roughly about 12 degrees. If you're advanced and you want this thing to be crazy maneuverable, 16 degrees is right where I like to set it at to have the most maneuverability. So I'm going to leave this all at 100% here, so when we go out and fly it, we can have a lot of fun. At this point, she's built, she's done. I hope you guys are working along with me. Now, if you bought the speed build kit, one thing we wanted to do when we moved to our new manufacturing is we wanted to include some decals here. You can use these decals in many different ways to get a lot of different color schemes. Starburst is one of my favorite. I put the Starburst on the top, the checkerboard on the bottom. You guys can do whatever you want. Make sure you paint this, decorate it how you see fit, put your family name on it, put the model club that you fly with. Definitely display those Made in the USA stickers on there. We're really proud of that. And you know, it's what you want to make of it. Along with that too, I hope you guys have some streamers handy, because this is a fantastic streamer combat airplane. If you don't want to necessarily hit each other, but you want to cut each other's streamers, this is a plane to have for you. I think we're done. I think it's ready for its maiden, guys. And it looks like everyone else is pretty much done too. Or close to it.
So
we can do Q&A for a while.
Do you want to do some Q&A, or do you want to go get, what do you want to do?
If the community is okay with Q&A, let's give some time to finish up here, and then we can go out and do some flying here. We still have plenty of sunlight. Is that okay? We ran 5 minutes over on our build. I'm sorry.
All right, hey, so
definitely.
Oh, is it on or off? You're good. I'm on. Okay. So Borgian Evolution.
Okay.
Which he goes by Cyborg on the
Cyborg?
forum. Cyborg on
Cyborg!
the forums.
Dude, I love that guy. So, funny backstory about Cyborg is I have his helmet, but also when I flew his little gremlin, which is incredible, I also cut his neck and ran into him. So, sorry, Cyborg. He's awesome. I love him.
He wants us to bring back the video podcast.
The video podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys don't know, we brought back the normal audio podcast, and Lee and I get to come in. And Lee, you're going to be bringing a ton of different people in, community members, things like that. I think Cyborg, hopefully, you'll be one of them. Yep. Do you feel open to doing video?
Oh, I'm absolutely open to video.
Here's the problem. If we do video, this is what you're going to see a lot of. You're going to see me like this.
That's a lie.
So, all right. No, I kind of hunched over and had bad posture. So as long as you can get beyond that, that's awesome. Video podcast. I think Cyborg, we're going to make it happen. Oh, I got a tip. I didn't even tell people. I was so proud of this earlier, Lee. See this cutting mat we're doing? This is the box that's actually part of our Crafty Kit V2. But we did something really cool with it. We took... A lot of you guys, if you watched this in the past, you know this trick already. We took Camp Dry or Scotch Guard. We sprayed this down. I'm going to put a little drop here. And these cutting mats, although they're cardboard, when you spray it with Camp Dry, it's basically a silicone. You can go afterwards and you can brush off any kind of hot glue, and it just keeps your board nice and neat. And that way, when you're building on a dining room table, you can use this board over and over and over again without your family killing you. So this stuff works really good. If you guys have a crafty kit or even a piece of cardboard, or you have a wooden billboard and you don't want the glue to stick, Camp Dry works really good. Sorry, I forgot about that earlier.
You're good.
Okay, another question?
Spawnhold says, great job, Josh and the rest of the team. Was fun to build with you.
That's awesome. Well, Dan, thank you for designing such an incredible airplane, buddy. Your legacy with your designs, but also the plans that you draw for us, is going to help a lot of people. So thanks for that.
They're just asking, there's been a few questions about Australian distributor.
Oh, Australian? We're working on it. We're working on it. That's a little bit more challenging, especially with the current climate, with shipping costs being nuts and everything. We don't want to just get things to you and have them be so expensive that it's not worth it. So we want to find a way to economically get things. The beautiful blessing is now that we have manufacturing on the grounds here, we're able to produce for all of that. And if you guys haven't noticed, our Flight Test store has changed. We brought back our store in-house. Instead of having 25,000 items and difficulty navigating, we now have all of our core products. We have our tools, we have our supplies, and then we also have incredible shipping rates and same-day shipping Monday through Friday. So please check that out. It's incredibly easy to navigate, get in the hobby. And now we're taking our extra bandwidth that we have and we're putting it towards not only get it into different countries, but also local hobby shops. So if you're a local hobby shop and you want to do build nights like this, make sure you check out FliteTestDirect.com.
Hey, they want to know if you're going to Maiden it right off the balcony.
You want that? I can do that. That's perfect.
We can do that. We've got the camera.
Wait, I don't have to catch it though, do I?
No.
Just Maiden it?
Camera. We can Maiden it.
We got it. Do they want to see a Maiden?
Yep, that's what they're asking for.
I like that. I like that. Well, are we going to do it now?
Let me switch this around.
This is going to be fun.
I want to make sure we're getting sound. Are we getting sound from this one? Hello? Check.
The hard thing is that one, when it gets too far away, it starts glitching out.
We're going to shoot it right here.
Yeah, it's frozen right now.
What about right now?
Still frozen.
Frozen?
Frozen.
Huh? Oh, yeah, that doesn't matter. I can just let it go out of my hand. We're waiting to get the audio and video figured out, and then we'll go out and throw it off the balcony.
Is it still frozen?
Frozen.
I want to see what this looks like from my end because I don't know what's going on the screens.
Sometimes you just have to let it go.
Let it go.
Is it still frozen?
Frozen.
Coffee.
Oh, by the way, I was telling you guys,
Still frozen.
I put a drop of glue on my control mat just to let it dry, and you can see how easy it flicks off. So that works out really good. Try Camp Dry or Sketch Card.
Josh.
Yeah.
We had a couple people make mention to they would love to see an airliner of some kind
Woo!
at some point in time.
Well, John has a Master Series airliner already done, ready to go. Maybe we'll just have to bump that up to the line. So you got it.
Still frozen.
Well, it's right in front of the doors. Can you see the doors?
No, I'm seeing two fine gentlemen like before. Oh,
Is anything?
frozen.
What if I turn this little puck thing towards it? Any better?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Is it still frozen?
What about just turning this thing?
I've got an idea.
All right, we're gonna try something. You ready? We're gonna walk. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to plug this. I'm going to... It's going to take a second to reboot. Give me a second.
Thank you so much for building along with us.
This is great. Unfortunately, it was a little too much for the little. He got hungry, but
Oh, no
he ran
problem.
downstairs.
No problem. It just means a lot they came out as a family. So
We
I
love
love
being
it.
out here.
Oh man. Well, I hope I see a lot of you guys. All right.
All right. Just for, how about now?
Get ready to die. Are we waiting for a connection? What a beautiful
Put that, the mic on. here.
Yeah, footage.
How's it coming in?
When?
All right, yeah, you can. Okay. All right, so yeah, go ahead. We've got it. Pull up. It flies. Nice. No, but it flies. We can see. We saw it take off. Perfect. Can you hear him now?
The most on rails designs I've ever gotten to fly.
Now we have to go downstairs to pick it up.
I know. Right by Old Glory there. So the
All right, can you hear me? Can they hear me?
They can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So currently, Josh is outside flying on the balcony, messing around, maidening the good old Bloody Baron. Currently, he's flying from right to left in the pattern. As you can see here, he's having a little bit of a crazy time. Sorry for the dark picture. But at the end of the day, it's always a good thing to be able to maiden your plane. So hopefully, if you guys were building with us, hopefully you guys got to maiden your plane, or about to maiden your plane if you have still daylight available.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
All right. So I think we're gonna wrap it up right here. So Josh just made in the airplane, it flies, which is great. So hopefully if you built it like Josh, yours flies just as good. So first and foremost, thanks so much for coming out and hanging out with us here with this awesome live build. Josh can't obviously say goodbye because he's flying, but from all of us here at Flight Test, the Flight Test Community Association, the entire community, we thank you so much for hanging out, being with us, and we will see you guys in the next live build. Hopefully we do some more of these sooner rather than later. So keep on the lookout, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.